it's Liz Yuille from Old Sables Crafts. Thank you very much for joining me again today. So, after the excitement of launching my first craft kit, I thought I would bring you a project using the items from the craft kit. And this is the first one I've come up with. I will have a number over the next week or so. So, this is using one of the striped bags, but I've done a little trick with it, which we will come to. And it's just a nice little gift that you can, you know, put something in your little bag, and it's just a nice little bag to use as a thank you gift, or in this case a thinking of you gift. So I'm only going to use other than inks and, you know, a couple of punches and stuff, I'm only going to use as far as paper, ribbon, that sort of thing for these projects. Things that are in the kit or that are included, the items that you can include. So the items that you could include as additional items were the Lots of Love stamp set and the textured impression embossing powder, the layered leaves. And this uses both of those. So that's basically my rule to me, is that you should be able to replicate what I'm doing with the items from the kit, with possibly a couple of minor adjustments, so using punches and things like that, but we'll come into that, go into that. So I have now, let me clear some of this out of the way. When I did my, flying bags, when I did my, my launch, I hadn't actually run the foil, the gold foil, through the Big Shot. I now have, and if you picked up my Instagram photograph, this is the leftovers, so I've managed to squeeze in pretty much, I think, as many die cuts as I can. I have written them down, what I've got. So there's 7 small hearts, 4 medium hearts, 4 large hearts, and these coordinate with this stamp. The medium heart is the size that if you have the sassy heart framelets, then that's what cuts out that, and then the large heart would be the layer for that. But it's only a heart, you can easily hand cut it. Then I've got 3 small plain circles, and these are what I'm calling the small, and 2 large plain circles, and then 2 small scallops and 3 large scallops. So that's what I managed to cut, and I've used one of the small scallops for this project. I may actually switch out and use one of the plain ones for the alternative, because I'm going to run out of scallops otherwise. I can always do some more, obviously. Anyway, so the first thing I think we need to look at is how I dealt with the bag. I've got all the little bits here. So it was the Textured Impressions embossing folder, and it's one of the dynamic ones. So the sandwich for that is your standard plate without the thin die adapter, and only one acrylic plate, because this is the equivalent of an acrylic, of an acrylic plate. So it's your ordinary platform, not the magnetic platform, your ordinary platform, this, and then one acrylic plate. And I've run it through so that it's the front of the bag, which is the one without the seam, is embossed and the back is debossed. And now I'm going to deconstruct the bag, because I want it to be gusseted. So, having embossed it, I'm going to open up the flap at the bottom and just grab my large scissors. I'm going to cut that off, and I have to apologise for the lighting yet again. We are coming up to the shortest day, and because I have got some part-time work I'm doing at the moment, trying to do videos in what one might call daylight hours is nigh on impossible. Apart from the fact there almost are no daylight hours. So to do the gusset, you either want to fold these 2 edges in by 3/4 of an inch and the bottom up by 1 inch, or 2 centimetres and 2.5 centimetres. So I'm going to gauge 3/4 of an inch So, and as ever, as much as I can, I will have all of the information over on my blog. So that's about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to just fold that and then try and get roughly the same amount the other side. And I'm going to be doing this by eye as much as anything. Bum, bum, bum. So we're at that point and that point, yeah. And then that is about an inch. Yeah. So the first gold line is about an inch. And you want those folds to then, the side folds, you need to make sure will go the other way at the back, because obviously one of them's going the wrong way. And then again this side. And then just flatten that out again and cut up to the fold line, which is at the top of that gold stripe. Now do measure it, because the printing may not be the same on every single bag. I've been lucky that mine are. Then you just want to make sure that you've got everything folded so that it's all, well, I say creased really is probably a better word than folded, but so that it's all going in roughly the right direction, which is always a plan. And then those go in, and that goes in. Right, now, fast fuse. You could use your tear and tape, but I would not recommend a wet adhesive for this, because it's a very thin paper. I mean, I say very thin, it's not substantial. So fast fuse, couple of strips on that flap, and these are the flaps that we've cut from the side, and again on this one, whoops, and just be careful when you're flicking off that you don't tear your bag. Then fold, this is the seam at the back, so fold your flaps in, and then your, whoops, the back flap, the one with the seam in it, goes forward, and then just run a piece of fast fuse across there. Just make sure you've got the corners, and fold it to the back, and then just make sure that's all nicely stuck, which it is, and then there is your gusseted bag. So that's all fairly straightforward, and then just fold again on that gold line, and that will give you your fold over for the front. And do you know, we're so close to being done. So this is a piece of the designer series paper. It's the one with the black and white dots on the back. This was the previous one that I did, which is the lovely floral, which has got the stripes on the back. This is cut at 2.5 inches wide by 3.5 inches long. And then I've got a piece of vellum, which is 2 inches wide and just over 4 inches long. Now, the reason I cut this at 2 inches wide is because I used the triple banner punch and apparently tidied it away to do the initial chevron. But I want to show you anyway how to do it without the triple banner punch. So I'm just going to line that up, and then by eye I'm going to cut to the middle. You can measure, but I'm just going to do it by eye, and then cut to that point. You get a much better finish if you cut to that point rather than trying to cut just straight on. So that's that done. Then I'm going to fold that top. Ooh, actually, I'm going to extend it up a bit because I want it to have a bit of the pattern showing underneath. So fold that to the back, and then again fast fuse and put on quite a lot. The reason that you can see adhesive through vellum is that you can see adhesive through vellum, but you are less likely to notice it if you've covered the whole of the piece that you have stuck with the same adhesive, because then it doesn't look, you can't see the outline. So put a good old thwack of adhesive on and it's less likely to show. And then find the middle of your bag, and I know I'm putting this on before the paper and I know I'm doing that. Fold that over and then just press it down, and I think you can see that it's not obvious. There's the embossing, which is making it a bit obvious, but if it was flat, the flat bit is not obvious. So then this piece, I am just going to run a piece of fast fuse, or a strip of fast fuse across the top, and slip it underneath the vellum. Like that. So that's the basic construction. Then I've already punched out a circle from Pear Pizzazz this time, and I've already stamped and hand cut 2 of the flowers from the stamp set. One of them I've cut more away, so it's this stamp, and I've also used this stamp. So this was what I've done in Tangerine Tango and Tranquil Tide. Those are 2 of the colours in the paper. So I've already hand cut those and the leaves. And then I'm going to pull out one of the plain circles. I used the 1.5 circle punch to do the circle. So if you've got circle punches, that's a good one to use. Otherwise you don't have to, you could put it straight on the gold. So don't think that you have to punch out the circle, you don't. And then just attach that again with some fast fuse. And then the first flower is attached with fast fuse, and I'm putting it down to sort of the bottom a bit. And then the second flower, where have I put my leaves? There are my leaves, before I forget them. Bit of fast fuse on those. You could use a sticky dot, but I've got my fast fuse out, and then I'm just going to tuck that under there, and that sticks nicely. Then I need some dimensionals, and I'm going to pop that one there, then it gives a bit more of support to one of the other petals, but you don't need more than 1 dimensional really. And then just lay that on top. And we don't need those bits. And then the only other stamping we need to do, which I have not done yet, is I've got the Thinking of You floral wreath thing, and I'm just going to ink up the Thinking of You with a Tranquil Tide marker pen. Just pick out one of the colours. You could use black. You can get the basic black marker pen as an individual pen, but the Tranquil Tide is part of this the newest set of ink colours, so you can get it in a pack of 5. And you can also, in the new catalogue, if memory serves, you can get it as a duo. Right, I'm just trying to get this so that it's vaguely lined up. If I line up my block, then it should line up. Yay! So, and this is just a strip that I took off when I cut my mats. That's all that is, it's just a scrap really. And then I've got the classic label punch, which I am going to line that up and about central punch. And then all I need to do is pop some fast fuse on the back of this and attach it at a jaunty-ish angle to the front. And then some fast fuse on the Thinking of You. Just pop that at the bottom, like that. And then the only other thing I need to do is remember to get myself a label clip, which I thought I had put out. Okay. Oh, there we are. So, one of the library labels. I've got some Pear Pizzazz shimmer ribbon. This is that lovely shimmer ribbon that is in the kit, and this is the black. And then I've got a piece of the gold mini sequin trim. And all I'm going to do is feed the ribbon through one of the holes. Let's make life easy for myself and go front to back, not back to front. There are moments I worry. And then just tie, I need to just work out in my head which way this bow's going. That's it. That's the right way up. And then I'm just going to tuck in, before I tighten it up, my trim. Pull that to the front. Tighten up my bow. And just pull that down. How are we doing? 16 minutes. That's not brilliant, bearing in mind I'd done half of the prep already. Hey ho, such is life. Right, okay, so that's, for a video, that's not a bad bow. Right, pair of scissors, and just trim that off so it's not frayed. And there's our little bow, and we can clip that onto the front of our bag with our sequin trim. The right way round would be nice, so that it's facing front. That's better. That's a bit better, isn't it? Right. And there we go. Let's get rid of that, get rid of all of that. So there are our two little gift bags. The bow's not brilliant, I'll try and sort that out for the photos. But just the first idea for the craft kit. Thought I'd start with something that wasn't an obvious card. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you would like the kit, you can only get that through me, and you have to be in the UK. The details are on my blog, and I'll have a link to this blog post, which will have a link to the craft box in it. Otherwise, look at yesterday's video. That's December the 20th video, which was when I launched the craft box, and that will give you all the details. If you don't already subscribe and would like to do so, then you hit the subscribe button, which is down in the bottom right hand corner, and I will then see you again very soon. Thanks a lot for watching.